Welcome to Sips and Spirits, a podcast for lovers of both alcoholic and spectral spirits. I am one of your co-hosts, your ghost host, Chelsea.
And I'm her co-host, your co-host, Eric.
Yeah.
A little disclaimer before we get started. We're not historians of any kind. Do we look at you? Look at the camera.
Up to you.
Any facts or stories presented are from various sources, and we make no claims that these tales are true. We found it to be spooky and interesting.
Yep. We are not professional mixologists. Cocktails and spirits are tasted for the first time during these episode recordings unless noted otherwise. So, like in the instance of our cryptid episodes, we obviously try that spirit to properly create a cocktail out of it.
It's good.
So we're not professional mixologists, but we are, I'm taking classes and we have done a lot of home mixology.
We're mixologists aficionados.
So we're not experts, but we do enjoy mixing up cocktails.
For sure.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. So what are we drinking today?
All right. Today we are calling upon a spirit called Pisco, a grape spirit from Lima, Peru. It's also found in other places of Peru, but our particular Pisco is coming from Lima. We are using Macchu Pisco to summon a Pisco Sour to the table. So here we are. We got the Pisco Sour.
You guys can see the coloring on our glasses on top of it. We used different bitters because the recipe calls for bitters.
Mm-hmm. Didn't say which kind of bitters.
Didn't say. I use orange bitters, you use Angostura bitters. So
we need to get our hands on those citrus bitters. So we ready to say cheers?
I'm ready to say cheers, take a shot.
Yeah, and I just want to point out, I don't know if it's intentional or not, and I'm sorry if we are insulting any culture, Peruvian culture. That's not the intent. But one of the reasons this bottle totally stood out to me was because the little design on the bottle totally looks like a little single monster eye with teeth. Mm-hmm. But I understand this could also stand as like flags or some sort of symbol for the Peruvian cultures. But I'm going to go into more details about why I think it is supposed to
be a monster.
Possibly be a monster in a little bit. But let's go ahead. If you guys are drinking along with us at home, grab your spirits and cheers.
Shots. Ooh. That's pretty. Ooh. That's interesting.
It's like grape juice with a burn.
I didn't get the burn. I mean, there's okay.
Okay. It's breathing grape juice. Yeah. It breathes a lot and grows.
That is very
I'm making really funny faces right now.
That is a very fun spirit.
That is not what I was expecting.
That is not what I was smelling when I was making this cocktail. And
that is not what I tried in that Beetlejuice cocktail I had at the Cauldron. This is nice. And there's more flavors growing on my tongue.
It changes the experience over and over again. And I'm very excited. This is very exciting.
Okay, now I understand why this is an award-winning spirit.
If you guys get a chance to, you guys gotta try this.
This is so different.
It's very different from what we've ever had, kind of thing.
Yeah, we've not had a spirit like this before.
This is very good. I'm excited. Cool. Want to try this cocktail?
All right.
Should we use our mixers?
No, I don't. You usually just kind of... Oh, you have my notes?
I have your notes? Oh, snap. Crackle pop.
Yeah, my notes have my notes on the back.
Oh, look at... You know what? And you got my paper dirty.
Okay, cool. Sorry.
Okay. You want to try this cocktail then?
Yeah, are we ready to cheers? So, before we do that, let's make sure we actually cover this. Flavors. Anything else you want to add to this Pisco spirit?
How do I say it? Yeah, it does have a burn. And
I definitely have the grape, but it's like a grape juice flavor.
Yeah, grape juice flavor.
White grape juice.
But not sweet.
No, not sweet.
I feel like a hint of citrus in there.
I feel like it's the skins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
More the skins, like the grape skins.
And it's hard to explain the flavor because I just kind of thought it's going to hit me at once. But it's not bad. It's really good.
It's really potent.
It to me, it felt like it went down kind of smoothly, and then the burn felt afterwards, and now my tongue's.
But it wasn't even like a burn. It's like it breathes a lot.
The breeze afterwards, kind of thing. It breathes more than wine. So
I was like, if I was congested right now,
it will clear you up, kind of thing. But no, it's actually very nice. I like it.
All right. Kind of So let's go ahead and give our Pisco Sour a try.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, I made it right.
Ooh, that's nice. I could drink that all day.
Ooh, that's delightful.
Mm-hmm.
Now that
It's
is
really light.
that's like a Budo juice.
You think so?
Yeah.
They went really heavy on the bitters then. Or maybe we didn't go heavy enough.
Can I try yours?
Yeah. I'm getting the bitters just more on the aroma. And I feel like there wasn't any egg white in the Beetlejuice because it's not as fluffy. Okay, I like the Angostura bitters better than the orange bitters.
I like the orange bitters better.
Oh, yeah?
I like the orange smell, scent. This is a very delightful cocktail. It's very sweet, very light.
There's lemon, but it's not for being called a sour cocktail. It's not very sour, but it's not like overwhelming sweet either.
No.
Now, why I think you might like your drink more is you were a little short on the simple syrup.
I was eighth of an ounce.
Sometimes that's all you need.
That's all you need sometimes.
That's really good though. But I do want to warn you guys, be careful with this cocktail. Don't do too many in a row because there's 3 ounces of just the Pisco.
3 ounces of Pisco.
And from what I got in this, it's... Yeah.
It packs a punch.
Let's see. Yeah, it's 44% alcohol per volume.
44%. Okay, what can you tell me about
All right.
Macchu Pisco?
Pisco, the spirit itself, is the national spirit of Peru. Created around the 1500s during Spanish colonization of Peru, when grapevines and wine production were introduced. Thanks to a Jesuit priest, new distilling techniques were introduced, which brought about today the spirit as that. Let me try that again. So, thanks to a Jesuit priest, the techniques that were introduced by him brought about the spirit that we now know as Pisco. So, the spirit we're drinking now is thanks to the techniques that were introduced. Macchu Pisco itself was founded in 2006 by 2 sisters, Melanie and Lizzie Asher. These ladies are carrying on a family tradition over 100 years old. Their grandmother would sell Pisco at a local bodega with her mother, and today, Abuela Mila still tastes each vintage of their Macchu Pisco before it's bottled.
Nice.
So really, they keep it in the family. And one of the things that if you go on their social accounts, not just on the Macchu Pisco, oh my gosh, Macchu Pisco, it's already getting to me. They go by Spirits Sisters is their Instagram handle when it's not Macchu Pisco. But in both of them, they have a variation of this tagline is what I'm saying. So the Spirit Sisters make supernatural spirits from 100% natural grapes. Yeah.
Ooh, excuse me.
So because they're throwing in their supernatural spirits, I was like, there's no way there isn't some inclination that this is supposed to be a little monster guy. So similar to certain wines of France, Pisco is only considered such when it comes from one of 5 different regions of Peru. So this is what I was talking about a little earlier. So Macchu Pisco comes from Lima specifically, but there's also Ica, Arequipa, sorry if I get these wrong, guys, and Moquegua and Tacna.
Okay.
I hope that's right.
Is
Ica?
Is Machu Picchu in Lima? The mountain?
Maybe? I don't. You're asking the geographically challenged person.
I think I maybe.
Oh my god, this is so good.
Very good. It's making that room not less hot.
This is a perfect summer drink, actually.
Very nice, yeah. Keep going.
I feel like you shook it enough to get the egg white really mixed in there, because sometimes.
That's very. So that was the question I was going to ask. I was like, what makes Pisco different from wine when it comes to using grapes?
Well, so it's more like how you'll have like a Bordeaux, right? Comes from the regional Bordeaux, but you could have a white Bordeaux or a red Bordeaux.
So is this technically wine then?
Sort of. It's a wine. It's a grape spirit, so it's distilled differently than how a wine would be distilled.
So that was my question. Like, how is it distilled differently than wine?
I don't know. They didn't actually talk too much about the distilling process. They just talked about the Jesuit priest, and I didn't look beyond all the information that I find for you guys. I really try to keep it within what the Spirit website provided, just so that it's easy to kind of back up the fact checks. Every now and then I do throw in some additional research I found. But yeah, so this is mostly coming from...
Neat.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
And then a little origins on what exactly Pisco means.
Mm-hmm.
So the name Pisco is oh my goodness. I don't know if this is getting me really fast or I'm just too sober for this.
Just sober for reading.
So the name Pisco is debated amongst historians. Some say the name comes from the port it was shipped from, while others say it comes from the Inca language. So Quechua, Quechua, I think is how you say it.
Where's that?
Right here. Quec. Quechua. Okay,
Quechua. Thank
you. Which Quechua means, or the Quechua language, Pisco means bird. Others say it came from the name of the containers of alcohol that it was stored in, piscos. Yeah. And then eventually, even though there was different alcohol stored in piscos, eventually it just came to be those containers were associated with Pisco, the spirit. So, depending on who you are as a historian, there could be, which historian you ask, there could be different origins. And I thought that was kind of a fun little fact to share.
That's very neat.
So other than that, I actually forgot to put this on my liquor facts, but I did mean to. There is they have two other spirits in their line, but one of the other ones I'm really trying hard to find. It's another Pisco, but it's called La
Diablada.
Diabla.
Yes.
Diablada. So, and it has the description I had seen for that, it's like the demon's dance.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So like I was telling you earlier, it's like...
Right, so and on the label, it's a bunch of kind of...
It's like a ballad.
Yeah, there's a bunch of creatures dancing on it. I don't want to say demons because everyone has a different imagery of a demon. This makes sense to me.
When I saw the picture, I saw like a human-looking person and then like a very Inca-looking god.
Yeah, there's a couple different creatures that are dancing on the label. Yeah. And I don't know if it's just not distributed in our area yet, but it's really neat. I was trying to find it. And the other one is more just like a premium blend.
Yeah, Nunca, I think it was.
Yeah, something like that.
Nunca Pisco.
So, all Piscos. They have 3 different ones. And, if anyone comes across that...
La Diablada.
Let us know, because we would love to try that.
We would love to try it. Now that I know it exists, I'll look for it. Mm-hmm. Kind of thing.
Yeah, so that's it for me on my liquor notes.
Before we get started on my side, do you want to talk about our
do you guys notice our lovely setup? I'm in love. I'm in love with our new setup.
We had to rearrange our setup. And so now we had to make things work a little differently. We have this lovely backdrop. We just bought today. A few hours before.
We have some new set pieces to make things a little bit more interesting. Mm-hmm. We have some other special pieces arriving. So you guys are going to see our set kind of grow and build. We're excited about it.
But this lovely masterpiece right here.
This spider lamp we're gesturing at for those who are just listening.
We picked it up from Midsummer Scream. We were just there recently. So when you hear this, now it would be 3 weeks from it? 2 weeks. 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 weeks from here. Who makes this again? Who made it?
Abnormal Artistry.
Abnormal Artistry, yes. So you can order these online. You can order from them and they'll ship them to you.
Yeah, if you guys missed our Midsummer Scream episode, we talk a little bit about it, and you'll see how the setup was before and now how we've changed it up a little bit again. I'm loving it, actually. It's
very nice, and like Chelsea said, we're gonna grow a little bit, put a piece here and there, where you guys can see different things, and some things I don't think some things might leave, but
might just shift around.
Yeah,
but Yeah, we're very excited about it. We've got more of the spooky, intimate, like bar vibe going, I
Yeah.
feel. So I'm excited about that because that's kind of what I wanted to
It
do
feels
from
less
the
of a
beginning.
bedroom and more like a actual like
Oh, yeah.
like bar place.
Yeah.
Okay, are you ready for me?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
Oh, but before we do that, I almost forgot. You can find this recipe on their website for the Pisco Sour, the recipe we found, but this is a traditional drink in addition to being a traditional spirit. So there are variations on the Pisco Sour.
Mm-hmm. It was very easy to make. The only hard part was getting the egg white out. I've never done it before. Chelsea did all the egg whiting.
I should have done it the way I knew how to do it. Like the first time with the bottle worked perfect.
Yeah.
But you have to be careful when you crack the egg.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be too aggressive because you don't want to.
I was thinking before we started doing it, like, should I get a drill on and just go, just shake it out? And why not? But yes, you find the recipe in the website.
Mm-hmm.
Scroll down and then you'll find it in there.
Yep.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's it for me.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. I feel that my would you rather kind of fits with the spirit itself, but kind of not really. But we'll see how it goes. Would you rather encounter an old cryptid horror like the Green Man, or would you rather a new cryptid in like city civilization, kind of like Slender Man kind of thing? Would you rather something old and ancient, or something that has seemed to appear newer, or if you can think about it, has shapeshifted to become something newer?
That's a tough one. Like, because I'm like, how ancient is it? Like, is there enough lore on it to kind of have some sort of backing, or is it like
so old there's no
like
history?
yeah, nobody's other than like little brief things. That's a tricky one, actually. But I think I would still go with the ancient
one.
The ancient horror, yeah.
So I kind of gave myself a twist in this one when I explained it to you, saying like something like it's something that nobody talks about. Like, what if cryptids or supernatural creatures we don't really get a new one, but they change for the times, kind of thing.
I mean, I have heard that. That's a possibility.
Like we talked about the movie The Ring. And how the future variations, it changed from VHS to like a DVD to like
a viral email,
like a viral email kind of thing. So do cryptids do the same thing? So like, is Slender Man something that was before, and now it changed itself to be like, well, this is how I can present myself now and still be what I am, kind of thing.
Possibly.
So like that's an aspect. So then in that aspect, it seems everything you encounter is something old. But I'm with you on this one. I would rather encounter something old and ancient. More in the aspect of like, I feel ancient horrors are more like, what am I wording for? More scary and less like psychological, I guess. Like Slender Man, like like originally when I wrote the notes down, I was like, I put Mothman, but I was like, Mothman's not scary, and then I was thinking I need to specify by new cryptid, because if you choose your what's the one that's from around here, Fresno?
Oh, the Nightcrawlers?
Nightcrawlers. I'm like, oh, okay, she thinks that's cute and interesting. So like, you're like, oh, I want to encounter that.
Yeah, well, because like some cryptids, because I don't think you should use cryptid as like your descriptor. I think more of just like supernatural being or entity. Because, I mean, I guess the Green Man could be considered as a cryptid, but I don't. It doesn't feel like it falls in the same category. Does that make sense?
No, yeah.
So for me, or like Slender Man's a good excuse, or even like the Empty Man would be a good one. So in the film, they're establishing it as an entity that's been around for a long time, but as a modern audience, we're being introduced to this for the first time. And you're still learning about the lore, essentially, as you're going through the film. Yeah. Right? Versus like, oh, yeah, we can look up some stories and there's variations of the Green Man.
But yeah.
So you still have a little bit of a backing on
Mhm.
something, or even like the ritual would be another one for a modern creature
Yeah. So
that we've just been introduced to on the lore of, right?
But yeah, so like for
But
me,
there isn't much.
I would like to an older creature. It is because the old spirits, the old cryptids, the old horrors kind of like really like intrigue me. Because like there's like history around them, and like they kind of shape the world differently than what new ones do. Like
Well, and I feel like there's a power in this ancientness, this ancient knowledge.
like the whole idea of like magic was there before and now it's gone, kind of thing. Like you like even
or it can carry on with the right kind of revival,
Like even just think the idea of like Slender Man, and like let's just go back, not as far as the Green one, but like let's just go back to like the witch trials, kind of thing. Like today, if you go down to the mall and you mention Slender Man, you get 10% of people be like, okay, I know what you're talking about, kind of thing. But you go back to the witch trials time and you mention like a witch, and like everybody's like, I know exactly what you're talking about, kind of thing. So back then, the older ancient things, everybody knew what the idea was. Everybody knew it was like, be scared of that.
Something to be feared or to be respected.
And nowadays, like, we have all this viewpoints in life, kind of thing. Like, so it's less on the whole, like.
Well, and do you think part of that is just we're so saturated with the ability to connect and be aware of everything?
That could be it, kind of thing,
that there's just so much that we could know.
But then think about the cryptids we've done. Like, cryptids have been found at different locations, and everybody talks about them. Kind of thing.
Like the Pukwudgie?
Like the Pukwudgie, yeah. Like everybody knows about the Pukwudgie. So it's like, it's not just, so even though they're less connected, it's, it's experienced by everybody, kind of thing.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's my take on it.
Yeah.
Okay?
I like it.
Cool.
Hey, look, it's one of the ones where we actually agree on the choice.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, we finally agree on one of the choices, kind of thing. Also, I think an older entity would be much funner to fight.
So I'm going to chime in here really quick just about the cocktail while you're taking a sip. You can keep going. If you do have an egg sensitivity, egg whites, for me at least, I can take or leave the cocktail. I can start to feel it bothering my stomach just a little bit. So it's just something to keep in mind. If you do have an egg sensitivity or an egg allergy, you might want to skip this cocktail. So
allergy warning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I just had to throw that in there as I'm like, now we've been sitting with it for like, 15, 20 minutes. And I'm like, oh, my stomach's like, it's not hurting, but it's a little uncomfortable. So
I can eat eggs every day, 100 times a day.
I have to have them a certain way.
And you have to have them a certain way. Like, not even like.
It's not that I don't like them, but it's just like later I'm paying for it.
Not all scrambles are created equal for you.
Oh no, I'm very particular about the scramble.
Yeah. Where did we go recently? Had a really good scramble.
Another broken egg.
No. That's the one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You gobbled up the kids' scrambles.
Oh, true, yeah. Okay.
All right.
So, being excited for being back in the new episode, I have an extra long story for you guys today.
Woohoo!
Okay. So, it's actually 3 different stories. We'll start with, there's a strange, bright yellow house in Lima, Peru that is said to be cursed. The name of the house is La Casa Matusita. And according to legend, a group of people met a grisly end on the 2nd floor of the building. Many years ago, an old man lived in the yellow house. He had a wife or children and lived with his servants, a butler and a cook. The man occupied the 2nd floor of the yellow house, and his servants lived on the ground floor. The man was ill-tempered and treated his servants very badly, constantly mistreating and insulting them. The servants were filled with hatred for the man and vowed to someday get their revenge. They came up with a plan to publicly embarrass their employer. One day, the old man was holding a dinner party. When his guests arrived and were seated in the dining room, the servants decided to take their revenge. They had obtained illegal hallucinogenic drugs, LSD, at that time, and put them in the food they were serving to the man and his guest. Then the servants walked out, quietly locking the dining room door behind them. They retired to the kitchen and to wait the results of their plan. After about 15 minutes, they heard angry voices and the sound of plates smashing. They chuckled to themselves. This was followed by violent yells and blood-curdling screams. The servants began to get worried. After the noises had died down, the butler and the cook opened the door of the dining room and were horrified by the gruesome scene they had discovered inside. The walls and ceilings were splattered with blood. In the floor lay mangled bodies and body parts, eyes, hands, internal organs, severed heads. The faces of the guests were a twisted mask of the hate and terror. Each and every guest at the dinner party, including the old man, had met a brutal, terrifying end. Driven insane by the hallucinating drugs, the guests had murdered each other in the most appalling ways imaginable. The sight so much savagery caused the servants to lose their minds. Horrified by the massacre they had caused and fearing they would be executed by law, the servants took their own lives, hanging themselves from the ceiling of the dining room. Ever since then, the Yellow House in Peru had a reputation for being haunted. Most people were afraid to go near the place. It is said that the house began to fall ruin until it was purchased years later by a property developer. It keeps going.
Okay, I was like, wait, is that how it ends?
No. Later, a Japanese family moved into the house. They were completely unaware of the history of the old building and its fearsome reputation. The night they moved in, the husband took a knife and murdered his entire family before killing himself. After that, the house lay vacant for many years until a local priest was asked to perform an exorcism there. The owner wanted the house to be cleansed so that it could be sold. The priest entered the first floor with no problem. Then, when he set foot on the second floor, had a panic attack that resulted in his death. Another of the best-known cases is that of Humberto Vera Vilches. The 1960s television host made a bet live on air saying that he will be able to spend 7 nights alone inside the house. He managed to stay one night. The next morning, he was found lying outside on the pavement. He had lost his mind and had to be confined to a mental asylum. He was never heard of from again. It is said from time to time, ghostly screams and yells can be heard coming from La Casa Matusita. Some people have even seen ghostly figures lurking in the second floor windows. Today, the first floor of the Yellow House is rented out to the business. The second floor is kept unoccupied and security locked. According to the legend, if a group of people goes to stay the night on the second floor of the Yellow House, they will go insane during the night and slaughter each other, reenacting the terrible events that happened there years before.
So, is it possessed? I'm really thrown off right now. Our air conditioner for once is kicking in. I can feel the air coming through.
I know, it feels nice.
You feel that?
Yeah, it feels very nice.
We turn on the air, turn off the fan so the noise doesn't get picked up. But now I'm like, there's like cold air going through. It's really bizarre.
Are you sure it's the air conditioner?
Now I just got goosebumps. The ghosts are sitting around our table. Oh, geez.
You get some shots?
Please help myself. Help myself. So, are they implying that First of all, how old is LSD?
I don't know, like just hallucinations, or maybe they use LSD as an example to like relate to it.
Oh, I just, I thought LSD was a more...
Isn't
it a modern man-made drug?
I think it's a more modern drug, but like it kind of hallucination that gives you like LSD, like...
I don't know, guys. I'm not a druggie.
I think it was more like an LSD-like experience.
Okay.
Like a hallucination, like so when you think of hallucination, some people think just like, like
shrooms.
Like shrooms, but like, you get like a view of like, oh, it's just colorful, but this is like horrifying images.
Right. No, I mean... It can go either way. It all depends on the person, right? But so are they implying that so the people who murdered themselves essentially kind of possess whoever tries to come into that house? Mm-hmm. Or are they implying that there was something else already dwelling in that house that actually caused...
You don't want to think so?
Because I missed the part where I was taking notes. So I missed where... Why did the servants give their master LSD? Because
the master was a really mean person.
Okay. So we went with hallucinogenic that's unpredictable in how someone's going to react. They gave it to all the guests?
Yes, they wanted to embarrass the host.
And the guests.
And so they just put LSD or whatever hallucinogen on the food, served to everybody.
This doesn't seem like a well thought out plan.
Nope.
I'm just saying.
But you just think about back in the day, they just planned simple revenge. An idea where people were thought that servants killed everybody. So they're like, you know what, let's just do some revenge.
I see some plot holes in this story. But I feel like we have heard about La Casa Masacita before.
Yes, we have heard before.
Okay, I thought so.
Yeah. It's a murder house.
Yeah.
You ready for a little more?
Got goosebumps. The cold air is really making me uncomfortable. And that I'm like, God, I hope it's the air conditioner now that you've said something. Okay, that was story number 1.
Number 1. Story number 2 both talk about the same thing.
Numero dos. Okay.
The whistling sound, or El Tunchi, is a scary legend from Peru about an evil spirit that haunts the rainforest. The whistling sound is a well-known legend in Peruvian rainforest. Stories about the evil spirit they call El Tunchi have been passed on from generation to generation in Peru. They say it's the ghost of a troubled man who wandered off, became lost and disoriented, and died in the rainforest. His evil spirit now roams through the forest, whistling at those unlucky enough to cross his path. His whistling sound is high-pitched, and it goes on. It gets louder and louder until almost unbearable. I'm not going to try to pronounce this whistle, but whistle, whistle, whistle. I can't whistle right now. The natives who know the story say that if you hear the whistling sound, you must beware. Make the sign of the cross and say a prayer. Cover your ears if you must, but never acknowledge that you heard anything. If you do, that sound will get louder.
Wait. Never what?
Acknowledge you heard anything.
Never acknowledge that.
If you do, the sound will only get louder as the tunchin draws nearer and nearer. Whatever you do, you must never answer El Tunchin's whistle. If you whistle back, El Tunchi will come for you and kill you in the most hideous way imaginable.
Interesting. Is that it for El Tunchi?
No, we're
Oh, okay. Keep going. Sorry.
Legend has it there was a young Catholic nun named Sister Bernadette who had just taken her vows in Spain.
Sorry, I was like, Bernadette? That's not very...
She was sent to Peru as a missionary and joined a group of older nuns who had been living and doing charity work in a small village in the rainforest. Soon afterwards, the nuns took a trip by boat to visit a remote village in the rainforest. That night, the nuns gathered in the center of the village to say a rosary before going to bed. This was a tradition they observed every night. During the second Hail Mary, the young Sister Bernadette interrupted the prayers. "What is that whistling sound?" she asked. The older nuns did not answer her and continued with their prayers. "Can't you hear it?" she asked again. "It's high-pitched whistling sound." "There's no whistling sound," replied one of the older nuns nervously. "You must hear it," insisted Sister Bernadette. "It's almost like the sound of fingernails scraping against a blackboard, but it's somehow different, like the whistlings of some strange creature." "You don't hear it, and neither do we," hissed another nun. The old nuns all eyed each other nervously and remained silent. Sister Bernadette was surprised by the bizarre behavior. "What? You must be able to hear it. It's getting louder. It's awful," she cried. And with that, she began whistling, answering the strange sound. The moment the young nun answered the whistling sound, it abruptly ceased. Sister Bernadette continued whistling despite the protests of the other nuns. The other nuns blessed themselves, making the sign of the cross, and said a prayer. The nuns all went to bed as usual the same night. While they all slept, they heard a piercing scream coming from the room in which Sister Bernadette was staying at. The other nuns rushed to help her, but when they opened her door, they recoiled in horror. The room was covered from floor to ceiling in blood, and Sister Bernadette was nowhere to be found. Days later, her body was discovered deep within the rainforest, hanging from a tree. Her throat had been torn out, and her arms and legs were broken and twisted at odd angles. Most distressing of all was the look of imaginable horror that remained frozen on her face.
Why didn't they just if you're going to live here, we're just going to let you know. You might hear some odd sounds. They're not acknowledging they heard whistles, but you might hear some odd sounds. Just ignore it. Make the sign of the cross, say a prayer, and then keep on with your living. Don't make the sound back. You still have more to this story?
A little more, yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you were done.
No, there's a little paragraph left. No worries. Officially, she was listed as having been killed by a wild animal, but the old nuns knew that had happened to her. The local villager had told them all about the Tunchi and the terrible fate that awaited anyone who answered the strange whistling call.
So, you can be told about the story as, warning. Why didn't they tell her? Like, it's up to her to believe them or not.
Yes. I don't know. Maybe
But
they
because
have
in
time.
that moment when they're experiencing the whistle, you can't acknowledge it, which is why they're like, we don't hear it, and neither do you. Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
Right.
Yes. You know, it could have been like one of those things
Mine
like,
was
when
more like a blink blink.
like she just showed up that night and then they have time to tell her like, hey, here's the house, here's the bathroom, here's what you eat.
I
By
don't
the
know.
way, if you hear about the whistles, don't do anything.
I would think like it's part of your orientation, right?
Welcome to the village. Number 1, you don't hear whistles.
would like I would imagine she's not like the first new nun. It wasn't like they were all like, we all started here, it's the 8 of us, and then now you're the first new one.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just think because all the other ones, it's through the story, it seemed to imply they all were aware of what was going on.
I just think they didn't have a chance to tell her, kind of thing. Or maybe it just hasn't happened. It hadn't happened so often or in such a while they just, forgot like, oh, we forgot to tell you about this one thing. If you
I don't
whistle, you
know.
might be murdered.
I don't
Ready for one
know.
more?
I don't know. But just do we want to discuss El Tunchi now or save it after you
We
read
can.
this other story?
It's also about Antunchi.
Oh, okay. So we're still going on with El Tunchi. Okay, got it.
Another story involves a 14-year-old girl whose father was working as an English teacher in a small village of the Peruvian rainforest. One day, the girl was looking out the window when she spotted a dark shadow moving through the forest. She heard a strange whistling sound and began to answer it. The teacher returned home to find his daughter standing at the window whistling a strange tune. "What are you doing?" he asked. "Whistling a dark figure over there in the trees," she replied. The teacher froze and the hair on the back of his neck stood up. He had heard the legends of El Tunchi and knew what was happening. In a panic, he grabbed his daughter and dragged her upstairs in her bedroom. He bolted the door tightly and closed the shutters on the windows. The young girl was terrified, and she watched her father get down on his knees and start lighting candles. She was crying, asking her father what was wrong, but all he would say was, "El Tunchi, El Tunchi, El Tunchi." Suddenly, she heard an almighty crashing at the door to her bedroom. Without thinking twice, her father pushed her into the closet and locked her inside. Then he broke the key off in the lock. Inside the closet, the frightened girl could hear her father crying and saying prayers. Just then, she heard the bedroom door bust open, and her father began screaming in horror. The bedroom windows shattered, and glass rained down on the wooden floors. The girl covered her ears as her father's scream faded off into the distance. The next morning, the girl was found by one of the villagers who was investigating the damage to the house. She was taken to a hospital and treated for shock. Her father had disappeared, and his body was never found. The girl was adopted by her aunt and uncle, and even today, she still sleeps inside a locked closet at night. She says she lives in fear that someday El Tunchi is going to return for her. And that's the end of my stories.
Ooh. Okay. So we are familiar with an entity called the Whistler. I'm not sure what it's called in.
Sin Silbon.
So similar, not identical. Actually, opposite. Because with El Simon, it's like if the whistling gets farther away, he's actually closer to you. Whereas this, it's like the whistling is almost like drives you to the brink of insanity because it's getting louder and louder and more shrill.
Yeah.
It's almost like people are in a trance too, like
Lured into,
You know what I was thinking
Like
about
lanternfish.
this a lot, and I talked about it before about the story about when I was hanging out with my friends in Mexico, and there's a story that we told each other that if you hear a horse-drawn carriage, don't look out the window.
You shared this before,
Yes,
yeah.
I have. I shared with you, or I think I shared it.
yeah, I think in episode 0.
Yeah. So there's a lot of stories, at least in Latin America, where if you hear something or something happening, don't do something in return. Don't do your instinctual action in return.
That's so interesting.
You know, like I was thinking, like when I was reading the stories, I was thinking about that. I was like, what is the point of that? Like, what are you trying to stipulate? It's like, don't get involved in the people's like situation kind of thing.
I didn't like that. That's a very good question because, like, even like real life situation here, crazy, but like in Fremont, my older coworkers, the older ladies, would be like telling the staff, like, if you hear a baby crying, don't go in that direction at night to like try and find out if the baby's okay, because apparently there were people using it to abduct particularly younger women, trying to just check on.
Yeah. Well,
Make sure.
and there was rumors in the town I grew up in, Watsonville, where if you see a car at night with no lights on, and if you flash the lights, that was like an initiation for the gang members to come after you and stab you or whatever. That was part of the initiation. So like they'll get somebody to like who.
But you're supposed to flash your lights to let someone know their lights aren't on.
Yeah.
What the heck?
Exactly. So it's like is it like one of those things like just don't do things like if you see something weird, just kind of like go on your merry way, or is it like something else? Now,
Like what's the warning?
what's the warning? Like what's the purpose of this kind of thing, or this kind of tales? Because we think about back to the Calpaluit. The warning is don't walk on the ice.
Stay away from the ice.
And the ice, because it's dangerous. You can sink and to be drawn there.
Well, okay, to be fair, that was just our assumption.
Yeah, that's our assumption of situation, right? Kind of thing. But like in this situation, like what is the warning? Like what's the point of being like, if you hear whistling, like, or in different cases, a crying baby, other situations, don't respond how you should respond, kind of thing, because it's like something's out there to get you. So it's kind of, I don't know. If you guys know, like, why people like have those kind of warnings, I'll be very interested to hear.
Yeah, it almost does feel like a mind your own business kind of situation. But I feel like, at least if you're a good person at heart, you have good intentions. If you hear somebody's in trouble, like you hear someone screaming for help or whatever, you want to go and help them. I mean, heck, they even tell you, like, if someone's trying to abduct you or kidnap you, you start like making as much noise as possible. You're trying to make car alarms go off and screaming for help, like, help, someone's trying to get me, in the hopes that someone's going to actually come and check on you. But then you have these kinds of tales, like saying don't go and check on those people. So it's like, what is the little like hidden message in there?
And I feel, at least when it comes to Latin American culture, and it could be part of like the stories brought from after the conquistadors came by. Like if you see somebody thinking about conquistadors, just turn away and don't interact with, because they'll take you too, kind of thing,
Well, I was like, do you think because there's like a high human trafficking issue? I mean, you have that in a lot of places, even Fremont, where we were living before, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that was kind of the whole thing with the like, don't go towards a baby crying at night, because we had, who was it, Sierra Lamar, right? I'm not saying that that's how she was abducted. We still don't really know exactly. I mean, they haven't even found her body yet, but
it's interesting when you said about the baby crying. One of the first nights I was out here smoking, like before we got any development going, I remember sitting out there in their backyard just after the pool was made, and there's, I want to say, a mother and a child walking by, and the child was crying. It was late at night, because I used to smoke late at night.
Sorry, I just freaked out. I heard breathing. I was like, who is that? And it's our cat who's sleeping.
I heard it too, and I didn't want to react.
I was like, there's breathing. What? It's not whistling, but there's heavy breathing. I think it's cat.
That was good. But yeah, so I'm there on the phone, and I hear like this, like, it sounded like distressful, like, like it would sound like a upset baby. And his mother,
I feel like we heard that a lot when we first moved here.
And like walking by, like trying to like walk.
I think it was like someone trying to get their baby to rest or whatever.
So it was just like, But yeah, interesting stories. All from Lima, Peru.
All from Lima, huh? Okay. All right. No whistling in Lima. Got it.
Got it. Do you want to go visit the house?
And avoid the house.
Do you want to go to the yellow house?
No.
No, you sure?
Pretty sure.
I wonder if demons can make me go insane.
Why do you even want to find out?
I'm curious. It's kind of like the whole like Amityville house. Amityville?
Amityville?
Words. Yes, that house. You know, like would the possession actually happen to me? I'm curious.
But it doesn't target everybody. Because I feel like I've heard like other people who have lived there with no issues. So the world will never know.
You never know.
I'd like to not find out, okay? We need you around, not out of your mind.
Murdering my face off.
Okay.
So very interesting stories.
Yeah.
All right. I think we all about jumped out of our skin just now. Was that your water bottle? Because mine's right here.
Yes. I will throw my foot back up on like one of the frames.
Yeah, we have a footrest on our table. And because if you guys are watching this on YouTube, you'll notice we don't have our little podcast arm or giant mics and cords. We are cord free right now for this episode.
We're cordless.
We're very excited. We got some new mics. We're like, look at us. We've got some fancy mood lighting. We got a new set layout. We got our mics. Hopefully you guys don't mind the sound shift a little bit.
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah, but we're excited about it.
Very excited.
Because this is just going to make certain logistics so much easier. But yeah, we lost our little, because our podcast arms, our microphone arms, had these little hooks that we could put like your headphones. We'd put our water bottles because they have the handle on it. And now we're like, oh, where do we put our water bottles? So we'll have to get some little purse hooks or something. Get some spirits ones with the ghosts.
There we go. You ready for the next thing?
Yeah, ready to go on?
Yes.
Yeah, let's talk about our next cryptid.
Yeah? So, before we get into this next cryptid, on our previous season section,
our previous 10 episodes,
we used to draw a cryptid card here. And like you guys heard on the last cryptid episode, that was a logistical nightmare.
Oh, boy.
So,
I feel like we keep saying that, but sorry, we have to.
You guys have no idea.
What we did is, over at Midsummer Scream, we met with a lot of our friends from the Silent Society, and we had them draw cryptids. So, we now have our following 9 cryptids.
Yep, so we know for sure at least 9. That may increase. So.
It may increase in the future. So we recorded them pulling the cryptid. And so our first cryptid was pulled by
Miranda of Spooky Little Halloween.
And Miranda, what does she do? What does Spooky Little Halloween do?
All right, so Miranda runs a Halloween blog that is Halloween 365 days out of the year. So she shares, she started off with sharing like her whole party details and planning tips and suggestions, music playlists, but she also does DIYs, like closet costume ideas. She does this great thing she's doing every Friday starting in August, so you guys should have like 3 posts to catch up on at least, where she's featuring small spooky businesses, which is really great. So really expanding into, hey, we know we have the big box stores, but there's spooky businesses that are selling their wares 24/7. So you don't have to wait for Halloween season to go Halloween shopping. And I love that feature a lot. I've found so many businesses because of what she's featured. But she also does what's really exciting, and you guys should pre-order your magazine if you haven't already. She releases a Halloween magazine, so a full-size thing where she's featuring different Halloween stuff. It's really cool. I love what she does, and yeah, so she's coming out with her second one. This is her second year doing a full-size one. Normally she comes out during the seasons with she calls them zines. And they're like smaller and probably like 15, 20 pages, whereas her Halloween magazine is like a good 30 to 40 pages and full colored. They're beautiful, well done, and lots of really neat stuff inside.
Neat.
So if you haven't, check her out. And we're going to go ahead and cut to
You
that.
can find her all
Oh, yeah.
Spooky Little Halloween on Instagram, spookylittlehalloween.com.
Her website, spookylittlehalloween.com.
Yeah.
She's on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, under the Spooky Little Halloween handle. And so we're going to go ahead and cut to her pulling the card. So, yeah.
All right, I drew the Enfield monster.
Enfield monster, okay.
I've never heard of that before.
I have heard of
That looks
Okay.
like a Quiznos sub
And we're back.
I think it's funny that you have to do all those cuts with, and we're back.
And we're back. Leave it be.
All right. So as you saw, our next cryptid
Is the Enfield monster.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an ugly looking thing. Gruesome thing, too. But
Pretty creepy. I'm wondering how we're going to do a cocktail for that
you know
monster.
what? We always wonder what we're going to do cocktails, but we figure something out always.
Yeah. Sometimes they actually come together a lot easier than we expect.
Kind of thing. So we're very excited for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess it's time for us to do our last call at
That's
this
the last
point.
call, unfortunately. It always goes by so fast.
Yeah. But it's great to be behind the mics again.
It is. Well, I miss being
So-
behind the mics because the energy behind it just came to talk.
Yeah, but we needed that break just to really properly prep for Midsummer Scream and just all the little things and really talk about the direction for the podcast. Too.
For sure. You just could get to sit down and be like, what do we want to do? What do we want to make different? Like you see, different mics, different setup for the spirits cryptids.
We're really excited for some of the
thing.
things that we're going to be doing.
Yes, and we have some more projects coming along. Whew, that's a lot of pisco. Just figuring out what we want to do with spirit wise, how we want to make those. Where are we at on our spirit account?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're running out of cheap spirits.
Yeah, or reasonably priced, I would say.
Yeah.
Not cheap, but
We're
we're
reasonably
running
priced.
out of the reasonably priced range. We're either having to resort to the over $50 bottles
Yes.
or go in a fun direction, which
Yes.
we kind of opted for, and we're excited to take you guys on that journey pretty soon. But we do have some spirits still lined up to share with you guys over the next 10 episodes. And then following that, we're going to have a lot of fun coming your way that hopefully still falls into our essence of sips and spirits.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So, thank you for sipping along with us. We want to keep the spirits flowing, so please be sure to show your support by reviewing and subscribing to our podcast. If you enjoy the show, be sure to share it with others.
Please share it with others.
share
We
with
would
others.
really appreciate that.
We love all the downloads we have, all the listens we have. The interactions we have with some of you guys. We've really enjoyed it. We love how much you guys enjoy our reels.
Oh, yeah.
Those are so fun to make. So, please share with us, share with others. If you ever see us in the wild, come say hi, kind of thing. We don't bite much, unless you ask. But
Oh, he's speaking for himself. I don't.
she doesn't bite at all.
No, that's not true. But
Didn't
I'm
bite.
not gonna bite if you ask me to.
Yes, she's able to bite me too. I might. But yeah, come say hi. Come say, tell us what you like about us, what you don't like. Tell us what you think we should have fixed on. Tell us what you think we made a mistake on, kind of thing.
Yeah. So, and on that note, we come out with these episodes every other week. That's just realistically what we can have happen. But so what we've decided to launch, essentially, one of our new things that's coming to you guys, is we are having an email newsletter coming out. So that'll be released on the, I believe, the Fridays or Thursdays, alternating the episodes.
So episode newsletter.
Correct. So you can come join our email newsletter by going to sipsandspirits.com/happy hour. Or we have a link on our link tree. So on all our social media sites, we have the link. It doesn't go to our website, but it goes to our link tree, which has a little link right there that says join our newsletter. And you just click that and you can join on in. We have some fun ideas for that. So that'll be really...
I forgot we're doing that.
And that's why I put it in the notes.
I'm like, fun ideas. What fun ideas? Oh, wait.
Yeah. So we're going to kind of be throwing out some little features of things we find from other people and resharing some cocktails, getting you guys aware in case you missed them. And yeah, kind of bringing a little bit more extra dose.
If you don't get enough of us, there's more there for you guys.
Yes. So, and then that's a great way. You get on our email list, and then you can reply to those emails if you want to contact us directly, but don't want to go through all the fuss of finding us on social media or going to our website. You just go to the website once to join the email list. You'll get a little fun introductory email with a link to our Midsummer Scream cocktail.
There we go. That was a fun cocktail.
Yes. And yeah. So if you aren't aware, you can find us on all podcast hosts.
All of them.
And as I mentioned, we do have a website, sipsandspirits.com. These episodes also get posted on YouTube in their full length, but I'm hoping that I'll be able to even start posting little snippets of certain episodes.
Just snippets of little things we did.
Yeah, little previews. We have our Midsummer Scream feature on there as well. We have some other things that we'll be sharing for Midsummer Scream on our YouTube. But we also have our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. Yeah. Anything else to add to that?
Nope, that's it.
No.
I don't know when. I'm thinking hopefully next month or Halloween season. I'm gonna start being more active on Twitter since that's the one handle that I take care of. I'm figuring out logistics of what I exactly want to put in there, but I'm excited to put more action into that kind of thing. So some things that I'm gonna post there will only be posted on the Twitter. So
yeah, for the Twitter fans who've been waiting for something on that from us, it's coming.
It's coming. I just been trying to figure out what I want to do with that. So so keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, and as Eric mentioned about the reels earlier, those get posted on our Instagram and our TikTok, and we do have a lot of fun with those. So
fun. So much fun.
Yeah.
Don't swim with a ghost sheet.
Yeah.
That's my warning in that. But anyway.
So we're ready to close our tab at this point.
Yes. So thank you for sipping along with us.
Yeah.
Hope to catch you next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.